Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today we have a little European car, 2007 VW Beetle, 125,000 miles. It's got the 5-cylinder and it's a 5-speed manual. Pretty cool. Customer complaint with this one, two complaints. ABS and traction lights are on and the air conditioning doesn't work. He said he had it recharged. AC still does not blow cold. So, let's get right into it, scan it for codes, see what's going on. So, we have 7 modules total. Here's the health report. In the engine, secondary air injection system, don't care about that at all. How about this code? P2612, AC refrigerant distribution valve control circuit low. That's a great direction. And then for ABS, we have left rear ABS wheel speed sensor circuit fault. Okay, great. So we have clues for both customer complaints. Let's start with the ABS, graph some wheel speeds, see what's going on with these wheel speed sensors. So in live data, I'm graphing all 4 wheel speeds. So let's start up and just roll it. As we can see, left rear is missing. So what's the strategy for this this problem? Sometimes the fastest and easiest thing to do on any car with ABS wheel speed sensor faults is just take off, 2 wheels. We'll take off the 2 rear wheels. And we know we have 1 good sensor in the back, the right rear, and the left rear is questionable. So what you can do, you don't need service info, you don't need wiring diagrams or scopes or anything, is just wire in the good right rear sensor, run jumpers to the left rear harness. Spin the wheels. If the left rear shows the wheel speed when you spin the right rear wheel, we know the wiring is good, everything's great, it's just a sensor fault. So that's the fastest way to determine if the sensor's at fault without doing, going really deep into fancy diagnostics. So let's try that and see what happens. Well, we hit a slight roadblock already. I can't find the special adapter for the lug bolt, but luckily the connectors are accessible under the car right here. So I got both sensors unplugged. This is the left rear. So we're going from the left rear harness to the right rear sensor. So now on live data, this is the moment of truth. If we spin the right rear tire, will we see a speed signal on the left rear wheel? Absolutely. So, like I said, that's the easiest, fastest, most efficient, guaranteed way to check ABS sensors. Just jump the other side to the harness. That's it. We need a left rear sensor. Easy. It took maybe 10 minutes. So we'll get one ordered up. Now let's see what's going on with this air conditioning system. By the way, just to make yourself feel good, clear the codes, and now we just have a right rear ABS wheel speed sensor circuit fault, since this harness on the right rear side is unplugged. So that's verification. Okay, so for the air conditioning system, let's look up this P2612 AC refrigerant distribution valve control circuit low. In all data, if you type in P26, it's not there. We just have a 2626. 2612 is not available. I looked up wiring diagrams for the HVAC system, and there's nothing that's labeled refrigerant distribution valve control circuit low. The only thing that might be what this is referring to since the code is stored in the PCM, is something controlled by the PCM. So this N280, what is that? It is right here, AC compressor regulator valve. So this compressor doesn't have a regular clutch, it has a variable regulator valve that controls how much refrigerant the compressor is pumping. That's similar to those Toyota clutchless compressors. And it is controlled by J220. You see it's fed by a fuse and ground side switched by J220. J220 is the ECM. So is that what this code is all about? Whenever service info lets you down, just do a Google search. You never know what you're going to find. I'm just going to search Beetle P2612. Let's see what comes up. Alright, doing a quick Google search. Beetle P2612. Let's see if there's any common, look, Rostec Wiki. Okay, that could be helpful. Air conditioning not working. Blah, blah, blah. Let's click on the first link here. Rostec is usually pretty helpful. Diagnostic software for European automobiles. So this is the VCDS guys. 2612, refrigerant, yep, distribution valve short to ground. Air conditioner compressor fails to operate, yes. So possible causes is either faulty wiring to the N280, so we're on the right track, AC compressor regulator valve, or the compressor regulator valve itself is faulty. Possible solutions: repair wiring, replace AC compressor, or this regulator valve if available. Special notes: when found in VW new Beetle with 2.5 liter, hey, that's us. Check the wiring and the 4-pin connector near the starter for damage or stress. And then it says the molded connection on the N280 compressor valve can become brittle, and that can also be a problem. They even give you an internal resistance of the N280 valve, about 10 ohms. So this is right here is the golden nugget that ALLDATA did not provide. So let's find this 4-pin connector at the starter. We have the new Beetle. That might save us a lot of time. Okay, so on the wiring diagram, which connector are they talking about? I think it's this T4, and see T4/4, that means pin 4 of connector T4. Here's T4/3. Okay, so say T4 is it just says 4-pin connector. It's not very helpful. We don't have a location for it. So if we go to components, let's see, locations, connectors, and let's find T4. 4-pin connector at starter, T4. Okay, here we go. There it is, right next to the starter. So let's start our diagnosis there. Let's find this connector, since apparently it's a common problem, and do some checks. So from up here, nothing is accessible. So let's get under the car and do a visual inspection. So AC compressor is right here. You can see it does not have a regular clutch, and the control valve is right here. We got 2 wires going to it. Okay, now let's find the starter. So this right here is the starter, and where's that 4-pin connector? Okay, right here. You see that? If you take a close look, you see a little green crusty on that red wire? I think that's our problem. That's the feed wire to that regulator valve, and the green with a black stripe is the control. Okay, great. Let's see what's going on. Those green crusties, I'm going to just pull on this wire. I'm sure it's going to be probably just going to, oh, there it is. Snap right in half. Wow, that was amazing. So that little tip from Rostec just saved us probably an hour of research and poking around. Eventually we would have gotten here. But how cool is the internet and people willing to share information? So we need to get this thing apart. Like they said, the wiring is tight. That's why it kind of does this. And we can even check the resistance from here through the N280 valve and back. Make sure that's all good. Repair this wire and make sure the AC works. So, connector repair. So the wire broke off very close to the connector, so there's no way around it. We need to extract the pin. How do we do that? You could get a special pin extractor tool, or you can improvise and use a couple big staples where you bend this end in a little bit and it'll lift. There's two little plastic tangs, kind of a one-way clip, that you need to spread out away from the pin, and then the pin eventually slides out. You can see there's a little spring. It's probably hard to pick up there, but that's what holds the pin in, and that's the terminal. So let's get the weather pack off and solder on an extension. Clean this end of the wire off so the solder will stick, and make this thing better than factory. Okay, so to get the weather pack off, you just spread these two little legs, and that should slide right off. There it is. Now, the remains of the crusty wire, you just kind of, it's corroded, so it'll just snap right off. See all the brown dust coming out of it. There it goes. So now we want to solder in a fresh wire into here. We can go right onto the nice clean metal, slide on the weather pack, have a nice tail, slide on some heat shrink, and then solder it to the harness. Okay, so here's some spare wire, about this similar gauge. So let's slide the weather pack on a ways, and that'll just go like so. Heat up our trusty soldering iron. You can even pre-tin the pin itself. Look how fast that sucker heats up. Yes, the solder is sticking very nicely. We can pre-tin the wire. Okay, now just hold it where we want it. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. Beautiful. That is a nice solder joint. Now the weather pack will slide right back where it was before. Make sure everything is nice and secure. So you want a good electrical connection and a good mechanical connection between the wire and the pin. So if you need to open up those clamps just a little more, so we can slide the weather pack right back where it was before. Use needle nose pliers. There we go. Open that up a little bit. So see the weather pack just slid right up. And then we'll close these guys up. The factory spec. There's a solid connection. We're ready to slide this right back in the connector, and then we'll figure out what length we need, trim it off, solder it with some shrink wrap. Okay, so here's what it looks like right before the final soldering. There's the little extension. Pin is in, a little shrink wrap, and all we need to do is heat up the joint and let the solder just wick in. Make sure everything's clean. I use some sandpaper to clean this up. I guess we gotta heat up our soldering iron. Good thing it doesn't take too long. Okay, I like that. Looking good. Do a little tuck test. Beautiful. Just toast the shrink wrap on, plug it in, and test out this AC. Well, next step is to test the air conditioning on the little bug. I thought, hey, let's check the engine oil, just in case. And what do you know? The dipstick is completely dry. Not good. When was the last oil change? Well, it says 11/22, 114, 760. That's the next oil change. We're at 126. Holy crap! Yeah, let's change this engine oil before the engine blows up. So this engine calls for 6.5 quarts of 0W40 or VW 502 spec. This is how much came out. Decent amount. I'm estimating about 4 quarts. So let me pour it into this jug and measure it and see how low the oil level was. Alright, exactly like I estimated. 4 quarts on the nose, so it was 2.5 quarts low on oil. Not the end of the world, because the oil capacity is 6.5, which is really nice. If the capacity was 4.5 or 5 quarts, that would be pushing it. So again, I have a theory that cars end up here sometimes with unrelated issues just because they're neglected and really need some basic maintenance. Like that Silverado that was overheating, that had what, 3 quarts of oil left, capacity is 8. That one was pretty bad. So let's fire this thing up, clear the codes out, see if the AC works, and then the ABS sensor's on the way, so we'll have to install that. So we're almost done. Alright, finally ready to fire this thing up. Let's clear out the trouble codes. No DTCs, and I want to look at the data stream if we have an air conditioning command. We'll see if that's okay. Let me try to find that. Let's see. Air. No. How about compressor? AC compressor, operation condition. Let's take a look at these. So it says off. Okay, let's fire it up. Come back in here. Alright, here we go. We're running. Data's on the screen. Let's turn on the AC. Yep, I definitely heard it kick on. And we'll see if our temperature drops. This is on 21.5 degrees. We'll give it a few minutes. Looking pretty good. We're in the mid 40s. It says 32% compressor command. Beautiful. So that customer complaint is resolved. Now we just got a little Christmas tree going on. But yeah, this Volkswagen's doing pretty well. No parts required on the AC repair. Just the way we do it. So yeah, we'll wrap this up. Get the new ABS sensor in, and that'll be a wrap. Alright, well, to get this sensor out of here, if this was a new cart, you could just unscrew the bolt and pop this sucker out. Not the case here. We have some northeast corrosion, so we have to get the caliper off, the rotor off, and punch the sensor out this way. The caliper bolts are quite seized. I broke them with a 1/2-inch ratchet. Luckily nothing snapped, so that's good. Once they're cracked and they come out, you would have to use a little propane torch action just to put a little heat on these bolts. And there's one on the bottom. I cracked that one loose. So let's get this caliper off of here and the rotor and see what the sensor looks like. That was friendly. Alright, here's our sensor. You can see it's seized into the backing plate. Let's try to gently extract it. Nope. So keep in mind, this sensor is junk anyways. We already proved that. So we're going to try a little more persuasive methods. Nope, that's just cutting right into the plastic. I mean, we're just going to have to break this out. There's no other way. Crazy. Yep, now we're getting somewhere. So I'm just prying the remains of this bad sensor out. And there it is. Now I have to clean that hole really well, and then the new sensor should just slip right in. No issues at all. Next day, courtesy of Fisher Auto Parts, we have a replacement ABS sensor. Now you might ask, why are you using aftermarket parts, Ivan? I thought you always say use OEM parts. A couple of reasons. One, this one was like 30 bucks versus 160 at the dealer. It gets delivered to my door next day, and it's not a critical electrical part. It's just an ABS sensor. So if it works, that'll be a win for the customer, save him some money. It'll be a win for me, save me some time. That's why. So it should slip right in to the pre-lubed hole. Hopefully. Hopefully it will. So let's try to install it. Alright, here we go. No issues. Went right in. We put that pinch bolt in there, and we'll plug it in, spin the wheel, see if we have a wheel speed. Alright, let's clear out the trouble codes. No DTCs. Read it one more time. It's happy. Data stream. We'll just do the rear left, rear right. Okay. Graph that. Spin the left rear. So it reads all the way down to 0.6 miles per hour. Fantastic. Let's spin the right rear. Looks like a fix. Identical. Let's take this thing for a spin. Make sure it's good to go. Let's see how this baby accelerates. Oh geez. Third gear synchro is kind of messed up. That's pretty impressive. Little car with a 2.5 5-cylinder and a stick shift. Yeah, it goes pretty good. No more Christmas tree. So almost no parts required, just the ABS sensor. And AC works perfect. And we have some morning road objects. Yeah, that's it. So Volkswagen's back on the road, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.